On to the City of Love then for round 2 of the Indy Racing World Series presented by Rogue Energy. It's the Richmond 120. Welcoming you guys into the comms box. It's Jackson Lambros with you for the second round of the Indy Racing World Series presented by Rogue Energy. We go from a heavily intense, high gamble, high speed drafting track to a technical, fairly high banked, but still very technical short oval here at Richmond. Lot of storylines here. Ian Miller coming off of his absolute show-stopping finish in that number 26 machine. Couple of guys having their Michael Jordan flu game, shall we say. Both DJ Fluck and Derek Booker being sick right now and battling is the adversity we are looking for here. So, a lot of storylines. Just about 2 minutes remaining in practice, and we'll get back to you here in a little bit of time to have you look at the starting grid. It's the Indy Racing World Series on Stadium Scene TV. Cars pacing here for the Richmond 120. Here's how they'll line up. Short field tonight. Mark Fish will be your pole sitter alongside Maximus Molina. Ian Miller alongside Matthew Faust. Erik Richardson, Derek Booker, and DJ Flick rounding out the field. One more page here, as I believe it is Maximus Molina all the way back there, as we are getting ready to go racing here. Lights are out on the pace car. Talk a little bit about Maximus Molina. Had a really good run at the season opener in Kentucky, excuse me, and had such a great opportunity to kind of execute on debut and just could not get it together. Had a little bit of an incident with 30 laps to go. So see what he can do today. Same with Derek Booker. What can he do having his Michael Jordan flu game? What can Bill Mulfield do a little bit further from the back? Up front, it is Mark Fish and Maximus Molina. We're racing here at Richmond. Checkups already. Molina gonna try and make that outside work. As now Ian Miller works his way around the outside, tries to, but gets that V-Car machine back in line. Running all the way up in the marbles, Mark Fish hangs on to the 42. That's going to let Hammond and Matthew Faust get their way through to the inside here. Big dive maybe as well from Erik Richardson. Not quite. Apologies for the audio, by the way. I know for whatever reason we're not able to show that. So right now it is Maximus ahead of Ian Miller. Then a little bit of a three-car train further back. Matthew Faust, Greg Hammond, Erik Richardson. Derek Booker looking into that conversation as well, spreading out slightly. A lot of guys struggling with understeer on this track, which isn't a shocker. Banking is there, but it's not quite as much. And you'll see guys running a lot stiffer of a suspension. The load is so much higher on these flat tracks. You'll see the same case at Milwaukee. So you really need help from the car, from the suspension, from the tools you have. Looks like we saw a little bit of a look to the inside from Ian Miller. Still plenty of racing to go here, not even a 16th into this event. So he'll try and stretch that out for a little bit longer. Still plenty of time. Battle for third going on here is Greg Hammond, who had a opening to forget. 2 different incidents for that DNS filter car. Same for Matthew Faust, who was looking for a solid result, was running in the top 3, then got favored out due to strategy. How about this? Let's see if the audio is working. Let's have you guys turn it up. Pressure 4 behind right now for the gearbox and Matthew Faust as there's a little bit of a look to the inside here from Greg Hammond. Now Erik Richardson going to try and capitalize on the outside. We know how comfortable Erik is on the high side in that John Player special inspired Stadium Scene Productions car. He gets the 13 around Hammond. He does a major dive to the outside there. Can he make that stick? Yes, he does a nuclear move once again. Oh my goodness. Oh, looks like we might have missed an issue there actually for Erik Richardson, as maybe that didn't go the way he wanted it to. Let's look for a replay really quickly here. Oh boy. So trouble actually for Erik Richardson as he was trying to work that around. This will force him into an early pit stop strategy. Damage to the front wing. Suspension looks okay. Back up front. Molina sitting pretty right now up front. Half a second over Ian Miller. Trying to go back to back. Molina was absolutely the one to beat for the first opening of that race. After that, Matthew Faust further back continues to hold back Greg Hammond. DJ Fluck having some issues as well. We missed that, but he's taken his Showtime Productions machine into the pit lane. He's sitting 9th right now. If you listened during the turning up section we just had, you could hear the front end of these tires absolutely screaming for grip. And that was a genuine concern when IndyCar was very, very close to running here in real life. And the ultimate demons that Firestone had to fight with Milwaukee when they returned in this past season in 2024. Dealing with high degradation, and the teams had to deal with it as well. I mentioned it earlier, but you need to run such a stiff setup with these cars. Jacking the weight helps a little bit in the rear of the car, but more often than not, you gotta run a tight car. Because if you don't, we see it with Erik Richardson. The car can rotate, and it will be comfortable, especially in the high line, if you run it loose. But it can come back and bite you very, very quickly, as we saw with Erik. Matthew Faust getting that gap just a little bit on Greg Hammond. Derek Booker about a second back from 4th place. A little bit of a 3-car train further back right now. That's Derek Booker in the Mach 5 machine. Will Molefield trying to work his way up into 6th right now. Looking on back from Booker. Been running this Mach 5 paint for quite some time. He's no stranger to running this. And with us 25 laps in, I really think this might be the longest we've gone without a caution. Obviously had an absolute chaotic opening round at Kentucky, which we were kind of hoping for, frankly. Always goes for a good finish here. Molina has that lap over Ian Miller. He's gotten that up to nearly a full second right now. He's the fastest man on track. So handling the car is one thing. Managing tires is going to be a whole nother battle. Something we haven't really seen yet. We've seen the guys play checkers with the drafting track. It becomes a game of chess right now with how these guys can manage their car. Maximus Molina started out running a Miller Lite livery as well. Bit of a Bobby Rahal throwback. He's in inspired colors this weekend. I'm not sure if this was an actually ran livery or looks to be a little bit redone. Absolutely loving the Gamebridge colors though. Look even better in victory lane. Watching Miller try to close that gap, the same issue we saw at Kentucky. Again, still plenty of race to go, just a quarter into this race, not even. But Molina, Miller, Faust, Hammond, Booker, your top 5. Faust and Hammond into their own little battle right now. We'll jump over there for the time being. This is absolutely what Greg Hammond wants right now. He hasn't had a very strong start to the season so far, as we mentioned earlier. Had a major incident, was one of the first guys to spin at Kentucky. So we'll absolutely be happy with a 4th place finish as they run right now. Over to Mark Fish right now in that Visa Cash App machine. He's now closed that gap to Derek Booker significantly. But you've got to ask if that's even a fight worth going for right now at this point in the race. Is it going to be more productive for these two to just run as they are and try and close this gap to Hammond together? There's a little bit of a wiggle though from Fish as he's chucking that into turn 2. Maybe a little bit of one tire starting to give on that Visa Cash App machine. He's looking racy. Bill Molefield further behind, also starting to get momentum going in that 911 car. You see gearbox here, Molefield slowly but surely closing that gap. Battle heating up over here in 6th right now. Derek Booker, Mark Fish. Fish had a little bit of a wiggle there coming across the stripe for the 40th time. As Miller continues to give chase right now. Has not cracked under pressure at all. Now getting more aggressive. Mark Fish looking to the inside here on the exit. For those who are bold enough, the high line is waiting. For those willing to sacrifice tires, the low line is waiting. And Fish continues to dig low. And all this has done is let Bill Molefield close that gap. Side by side now, just gets that wing down to the back wheels of Booker, but can't quite make it happen. Now he checks up. There might be problems there for Mark Fish. What's happened to Mark Fish? Looking at a quick replay here. Maybe a little bit of a wiggle. Watch those inside wheels. As maybe they touched the apron. No. It's a big chuck to the inside and just a tap on the outside wall there. So no harm, no foul right now for Mark Fish. He'll give up that position right now to Bill Molefield and continue in 8th. Meanwhile, further back, Erik Richardson has to really go to work here from the gutter. 2 laps down, trying an early move around the outside there to get past these guys. .50 laps in. We're going to step away for just a minute. Don't go anywhere. It's the Indy Racing World Series on Stadium Scene TV. Lap traffic starting to become a factor. Maxi Molina now getting to one of our big battles on track right now as Bill Molefield battles with Mark Fish. This is a scrap battle right now for 6th and 7th, but still a banger right now as Molina is cutting through him like butter right now. Cleared Molefield. Fish is next on the menu, a really good ways back. Has actually done a really good job right now in cutting both. Molina's put a really good gap on Ian Miller in 2nd, and getting through these guys, it's actually kind of disintegrated the battle between Fish and Booker. Nose right now of Bill Molefield, who's got a lap ahead car right now of Maxi Molina in his sight, but was in the middle of a really good battle right now with Mark Fish. I believe that was Erik Richardson that just unlapped himself. I'm not entirely sure. Excuse me, no, that was Ian Miller. As he was really hoping to capitalize on this lap traffic, use that to maybe close the gap. But right now it has not been an issue for Molina at all. He's got Mark Fish and Derek Booker in his sights. Let's see how quickly he can make work of these two. It's going to be a top 5 right now for Fish if he can get this done. Had a little bit of a brush with the wall earlier, but now he's worked all the way back to get back by Derek Booker. Great move from Mark Fish, and the V-carb almost makes contact here with the leader, Molina. This fight is far from over, and this is going to close the gap back up. Now Ian Miller back within half a second. Maxi Molina's going to want no part in this. Now down to half a second between 1st and 2nd. Molina gonna have to take the long way around to get a big wiggle there from Ian Miller further back, trying to claw his way to the front. And even with only 9 cars on track, we're getting that short track IndyCar racing you guys know and love. You can see right now how loose Molina's running that car though. Just oogles of counter steer right now, trying to keep it in the right direction. has kept it clean so far, 63 laps in. Miller now trying to clear by Booker. Can't get it done there in turn 4. Or turn 2, excuse me. Tries it again by the start, finish line into turn 1. Will have the momentum, gets it done. So that puts them both on the same real estate of track, shall we say. As further ahead, Molina has still not cleared Mark Fish, who has absolutely used this battle for the lead to open that gap on the Mach 5 machine of Derek Booker. With Molina, he's got Richardson next on the menu. And now Molina's taken off again, almost a second and a half over Ian Miller. Meanwhile, though, the struggles for Derek Booker has let Bill Molefield kind of get back into the mid-pack fight. But again, it is playing the conservative game for Maximus Molina. I know I've got the raw pace. What can I do to save my tires? And how can I be as efficient as possible when maybe working my way around lap traffic? Mark Fish is not making this easy, though. Molina to the inside. Finally makes it a done deal. Almost 15 laps there it took Molina to get by Fish, so the question is, how long will it take Ian Miller? Oh man, Ian Miller just watched Mark Fish almost run that car back up into the wall. Because if Molina's been running it too loose, then Mark Fish has absolutely been running that car too tight. Actually, dropped back earlier, might have ran it into the turn 4 wall again. You absolutely want to run it back there for pace. Ooh, what's this? Might have been trouble for Derek Booker. He's given that position up to Erik Richardson, or excuse me, to Bill Molefield. So might have been an issue there. Let's see if we can get a replay and see what happens. Molefield might have got there on his own pace. We're watching him clawing for 7th right now. Out of 2, we've seen these guys run so close to that outside retaining wall. Molefield's gonna get it done the natural way, I think. Side by side into turn number 1. Gearbox isn't giving us a great view here. Yeah, Molefield clears it. So that puts this battle in the books. And only 4 cars on the lead lap right now. Miller's still trying to hunt down Maximus Molina. But Matthew Faust and Greg Hammond kind of in no man's land right now. Fastest man on track still continues to be Maximus Molina. Last lap, 18 seconds, 0.3. Best is just 0.75 over that. In chat, DJ withdrew due to illness, then Roomba decided to get tangled in a modem cord and unplug it. Great night over here. I am... Save a thought for DJ Fluck. Tried thugging it out with the sickness. Derek Booker's still going through it right now. powers that be and the Roombas that be decided, I'll pull you out early. Halfway home here on the Richmond 120. We'll step away for just a second. Don't go anywhere. It's the Indy Racing World Series on Stadium Scene TV. So an unfortunate start to the race for Erik Richardson, but man, he's continued to battle his way to the front right now. He just got that 13 car past Derek Booker. That's not for position, but he's managed to unlap himself consistently, now just one ring down, as he is battling his way back to the front. Again, had a major shakeup earlier. Tried making the outside work for the top three and ended up losing his front wing in the process. Same issues for Mark Fish, who I believe might have been the first one to come to pit row. He's on 6th lap in Firestones. He's trying to make the most of that right now. He's got Greg Hammond and Booker in front of him. As now it's Greg's turn to come to the pit row. So for the first time here in this season of the Indy Racing World Series, we got green flag pit stops coming your way. Should be to nobody's surprise, but the one stopper, just like at Kentucky, is going to reign supreme here. That was always possible the whole time. You could argue that some guys maybe were banking a little bit more on a caution, but you look at the way a lot of these guys have overfueled, actually. They've anticipated the long run. Matthew Faust has, Maxi Molina has, Ian Miller has. Wasn't until just over that halfway tick we saw guys come to pit lane. So how will this help the guys doing the undercut will be the big question. This will only put Maxi Molina and Ian Miller on the lead lap for the time being. Phil Molefield, who's played the long run, has gotten himself up into third. That's Faust working his way out now. Further back, this pit rotation is actually into an actual battle. Greg Hammond, Mark Fish getting into it. Erik Richardson has actually managed to get himself up into fifth. Still to pit, but a caution would absolutely help him out here. And we're seeing that advantage right now from Greg Hammond as he's able to sit nice and comfortable running that low line backing up. Shorter radius reigns supreme. Hammond gets that 66 car up into fifth. what is this? Maxi Molina works that 26 into the box for the first time. Same for Bill Molefield. So laps led for the first time tonight for Ian Miller. That was lightning fast for Maxi Molina, who actually rejoins the field in second. Where did that put Matthew Fast in comparison? On the same lap, but still a noticeable gap ahead here. Miller now comes to the pits. And this will fairly easily give the lead back to Miller. Miller comes out. Where is Faust going to be filtered in all this? He's got Mark Fish on the outside, and he's got Erik Richardson on the outside of him as well. So this is absolutely not the outlap that Ian Miller was hoping for. He's under fire from Richardson right now, trying the outside. So major trouble right now for Ian Miller. Matthew Faust with a great opportunity here, though, with wide open air to maybe close that gap to Ian Miller. But again, if I'm Ian Miller, especially after the night I had last night, I am definitely not complaining about a second place finish. Was not looking to be a contender last weekend, although was up front all night long. Put his car in just the right spot on the final restart. He walked away as the winner week one. Back at the 13 with Erik Richardson. Closed that gap fairly well to Mark Fish. He's got Derek Brooker between him. Richardson, another guy with the pace, but not quite with the results to prove it yet. Showed really, really strong running at Kentucky, but got into his own incident. Lost it again here. .55 laps to go here for the Richmond 120. Molina had that gap as high as 3.5 seconds, actually 4 seconds. Ian Miller is closing that gap. Down to 2.5 seconds. Where is Molina in all of this? He's got Matt Faust in front of him. Your third place guy is about to be put a lap down. Let's see how hard Matt Faust defends on this, excuse me. Because, come a caution, that could mean absolutely everything. Still hasn't managed to get it done. Further back there, we've got Greg Hammond under fire from Ian Miller. So two guys trying to get by lap traffic. Further back, Miller trying to clear Hammond. Look at how comfortable Hammond is. Working numerous lines. Tries the over-under, but it's a done deal. Or is it? Big lunge to the outside there from Hammond. Keeps that 66 right with this Chrome McLaren car. And in doing so, gets this gap to within a second. Quick jump further back, though, because Bill Molefield's going to chuck it to the inside of Erik Richardson. Battle for 7th. Molefield with the momentum. Richardson with the line. Molefield gets that done. Nuclear move for the driver of the 911. Back over to the leaders, though, because this is turning into an absolute dogfight here to the finish. $50 laps to go. Molina is struggling still to clear Matthew Faust, who's doing everything he can to stay on this lead lap. And Ian Miller is absolutely reaping the rewards of that. Almost side by side, still can't get it done. Now tries the inside. Matthew Faust has thrown everything he could at Maximus Molina to hold that lead lap, but to no avail. And it is officially now a 2-car race for the lead. So the question now, how hard of a fight will it be when it comes to Matthew Faust giving that position up to Ian Miller? 45 laps to go here at Richmond. Further back, Bill Molefield's charging hard here. He's cleared Richardson. He's cleared Booker. Now Fish is on the menu. Big dive to the inside here in turn number 3. In mechanical grip we trust. Hangs it all the way to the inside. Almost getting those inside tires to the apron. You wish you had friends that trusted you the way Bill Molefield is trusting that 911 machine right now. And that 911 car driven by Bill Molefield has worked its way from nearly the back of the pack up into the top 5. Some nuclear moves right now from Bill. What's our situation up front? Miller has cleared Faust. He's given him not too much of a fight. So it has absolutely become a 2-car dogfight. What we thought was going to be a battle at the end here at Kentucky has turned into an absolute dogfight here. Gap down to half a second with 40 laps to go at Richmond. And looking further back, the plot is thickening for this bottom spot of the podium. Greg Hammond now within a second of Matthew Faust. It is heating up here at Richmond. Both of these guys so new to the Indy World Racing Series. Miller's gotten on the board. He's able to say he's won in this league. Molina, the pace is there. It's been not a matter of when, but of if, but when. And it really could be tonight. But Miller is no stranger to playing the villain. It absolutely could be back-to-back weekends for the driver of the Chrome McLaren car. Gap closest it's ever been all night. Molina hasn't faltered all night long, but the cracks are finally starting to show in the 26. Just a car length between him. Maybe a little bit of a puff there from the 26. A tad bit of a lockup coming into the corner. 35 to go at Richmond. Fish is not going to make this any dramatic as it has to be. He'll let him by. Oh, in trouble. Oh, and the plot thickens. Oh, boy. Looking for damage. I believe it's Derek Booker. Let's look and see what happened. We're going solely off of guesses right now. I struggle to see anyone who actually slowed on my deltas. And there is your answer. Great evasion there from Millfield and Richardson. But unfortunately, night done for Derek Booker. We'll get his fast repair. And although that suspension has backed itself out, that is a definite maimed Mach 5. So with that, we will step away for the sprint to the finish. A dramatic run to the checkered on the way here for the Indy Racing World Series here on Stadium Scene TV. Troubles for Derek Booker bring out the first and only caution. First and only Lambros. The lone caution of the night here at Richmond. And with that, an amazing battle between Maximus Molina and Ian Miller. I won't say came to an end because it feels like the pause button's just been pressed. All you can expect here is an absolute duel to the end between these two. Bill Molefield and Mark Fish further back, using that caution, by the way, to go to pit road. But looking back, do not count out Matthew Faust. With the lucky dog rule, actually gets him right in this battle. He's got a plethora of cars in front of him. But certainly not out of this. Lights out on the pace car. Molina, Miller. Faust a little bit further behind. Our guess is as good as yours. Let's get back to it. 30 to go here at Richmond. Booker way up in the wall further back there. Fish is going to try and pounce on it. As he slows big time, both Booker and Fish slow majorly there. Further back, Molina has maintained that lead very, very well in the 26. Miller has stayed in pursuit at about half a second, but Molina has been killer on these restarts all season long so far. Greg Hammond further behind there, you saw in the DNS Filters car. He's in no man's land. Nobody is a factor for him. Bill Molefield is nearly a whole lap behind, but still don't count out the 911 for a top four, excuse me. Ian Miller now the fastest man on track. Can he be the upset? Another major potential factor here could be tires. Both of these guys pitted at around the same time at the halfway point. But it is 2 lap fresher rubber for Ian Miller right now. Last time by, Maxi Molina 17.96, Ian Miller 17.97. Both of these guys neck and neck on pace. Miller showed a really strong outlap. Hasn't been able to really keep that going consistently, though. And yet, slowly and surely, that gap manages to close. If Molina can get this done, the ability for him to run this race without cracking under pressure will be what separates your week 1 rookie drivers from your IRWS drivers. The ability to have a guy in your mirrors for X amount of laps, to be looking at your inside, and to not crack at all. To not miss an entry point, to not miss an apex, to not give too much throttle and lose time. That will be what we remember this drive for Maxi Molina. 20 laps to go. Might as well call it 200, though, as this battle continues to fight here between Ian Miller and Maxi Molina. Ooh, bit of a rub there. You could hear contact as Miller made a little bit of contact with that outside rear tire, using all of the track possible, even when it maybe isn't there. $15 laps to go. Ian Miller down, but definitely not out in this. Down to 0.3 of a second, about 3 car lengths on the gearbox of Molina. Can lap traffic become a factor here? And if so, when will it be? Nobody so far. It took us until about lap 30 to see it in the first stint. Might not happen this time. Let's flip the script then, because if it's been being able to stay cool for Molina, it'll be patience for Ian Miller that we're going to remember here in this drive. 0.3 back. Has waited all night, just like at Kentucky, for the right moment to strike. We still don't know when that might be. Whether that's 3 laps from now, 5 laps from now, 2 inches from the line. But the ability to have that Scott Dixon gene, if you watch IndyCar racing in real life, to never count a driver out, is a real good trait to have early on here in the IRWS. 1/4 of a second still separating them. 11 laps to go here at Richmond. Oh! Ian Miller gets into the wall again there. Continues to keep going, but is just carrying way too much speed there in the 48. And we were seeing that earlier with how much he's been able to close that gap on corner entry, but he's just been carrying way too much speed. And you've got to consider aero wash as well. 10 to go here at Richmond. Ian Miller closer than he's been all night long. Now looks to the inside. No draft to help him out. He might not need it. Side pod to side pod. Big wiggle from Molina on the outside. Done deal. New leader here in the Richmond 120. It's Ian Miller. What can Molina do to bring the fight back? And for those of you guessing in the comments, lap 152 was the right time to strike for Ian Miller. So now the hunter becomes the hunted. What can Maximus Molina do to bring this fight back to Ian Miller? A comeback from here would be monumental for the 26th. But Miller is taken off into this Virginia sunset. What a difference a handful of laps makes as Molina now almost runs his car into the wall. Now gets that gap to almost a second. Further back, Bill Molefield. Still holding fifth. Greg Hammond not too far ahead, believe it or not. 5 laps to go here at Richmond. Over a second now, and it's going to take a J.R. Hildebrand type scenario right now for Molina to make this comeback. Lest we see 3 laps from the gods right now. But it is all eyes on this gentleman right here in the 48, Ian Miller, who has absolutely stunned this series with an early win last week at Kentucky. Was looking to prove that. People were thinking maybe it was a fluke. The draft tracks are a little bit of a gamble, a little bit of a wild card. No wild card needed this time by Ian Miller. He's your winner at Richmond. An absolute biblical drive with less than 10 laps to go. Gets by Maximus Molina, who had this thing wrapped up seemingly up until 8 to the line. In a run to the finish, a restart we're going to be talking about here for a very long time. We're going to get your podium in just a little bit. You're watching the Indy Racing World Series on Stadium Scene TV. Stay with us. Joined now by your podium here for the finish of the Richmond 120. Let's start with your third place finisher, Matthew Faust. Matt, we go from a very chaotic opening round at Kentucky to a quiet race for you, and I mean that in a good way. I know, obviously, fighting on the lead lap wasn't the result you wanted, but walk me through your race. There was a little bit of a battle there to stay on the lead lap with Molina at the time there. Afterwards, how much of a fight were you giving at that point, at about the halfway point to stay in the lead? Really great drive from you today, Matt. We'll see you next week. On to Max Molina, who we thought was going to be the one. Max, I know it's not the result you wanted, but walk me through the last 20-10 laps from your perspective. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really, really great drive regardless, Max. We'll see you next week. Talking now to your winner in the 48 Chrome McLaren, a driver who we now see for the second time in Victory Row. It's Ian Miller. Ian, I'll start with this. Were we expecting to have this conversation again? Walk me through the last 10 laps there. You got it done with 8 to go. Were you, how much anxiety was there for you trying to get that move done sooner than later? Yeah. Yep. We saw both you and Maxi kind of play the long game when it came to making moves, lifting big time, saving tires, playing it strategic when it came to lap traffic. Do you think the 2 lap younger, the 2 lap fresher rubber was that difference? Yep. 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 You're a back. Yep. You're a back-to-back winner now. You, in a series where you talked to me last week saying you weren't the most comfortable when it came to ovals. You've got a 2-win lead in the championship now going into the first street course at Pelham. How's that? Fantastic drive today, Ian. We'll see you next week. Best of luck for the rest of the season. That is it for us here at Richmond. We go on to Belle Isle next Tuesday. Taka's got you for the remainder of Season 5. But for everybody at Stadium Scene TV, a huge thank you for the opportunity from them. I'm Jackson Lambros. Till next time for your race winner, once again, Ian Miller.